stay at home. And he has since been suspended, so he's still on suspension as we speak.
And perhaps just to deal with that issue of suspension, does the suspension have a time limit? And I'm trying to deal with that with reference to what you said earlier, that the matter has been referred to a disciplinary hearing.
Yeah, suspension do have time limits in terms of sub-disciplinary regulations is about 3 months.
Yeah, 60 days, is it not?
60 days, yes, which then the chairperson of that hearing can extend with another 30 days, which means that it's limited to 90 days.
And that's why I assume you said earlier that's a separate process, it will run its course.
Yes, it's, the disciplinary hearing is a separate matter. It will be handled separately.
Okay.
Are you moving to the next topic?
Excuse me?
Are you moving to the next topic?
Yes, I was going to go to the minister's motives and then come back to issues of relevance. In other words, to tie in what he's just dealt with.
Maybe let me hold my question.
Thank you. Yes, go. Oh. No, sorry. I thought Commissioner Balo is going to ask a question, but...
Oh, I do have a question, but I thought if you're following a theme, let me not disrupt it.
Thank you, Commissioner Malloy. General, if I can ask you to skip from 185 to 188 under the topic Minister's Motives, because you are now at a part where you've dealt with what these investigations have revealed, and you've disclosed up to the limited extent that you could, bearing in mind what you had said yesterday, these criminal investigations that are currently underway have an element of sensitivity and confidentiality in them, for reasons that you mentioned. But if I could just ask you to tie what you've just testified upon up to 184 with what you deal with in 188 and 189.
Yeah, thanks, Commissioners. In respect of the Minister, knowing what I know now, what I consider to be irrational and inexplicable encroachment into operational issues is now explained by his desire to hold investigations against criminal cartels by disbanding the PKTT. By this I mean that evidence that has emerged which links the Minister to Brown Mkhosi, to Ket Matlala and Lieutenant General Sibia. So it is clear now that that arrest of Matlala in May have assisted us to understand the real motive of the disbandment of the political killings task team. Because you would remember we asked reasons and it came, we don't mind, well, when does an order come? It came 31st of December 2024 after 1700 hours in the afternoon and in a rush. Why the rush? The phone records of Matlala eventually did indicate to us that actually since December, operation of the 6th December 2024, that's when there was a planning to disband this political killings task team, of course, to prevent it from further doing the work that they were doing in Gauteng. So those, the investigators will come with those specific recordings to indicate that there was discussion about this team's lifespan and that it should be disbanded. So at the end of the day, what I'm saying is now...
With the minister at a funeral in KZN 3 days before the instruction to disband, not so?
I didn't catch that, Commissioner.
You were at a funeral in KZN with the minister 3 days before the instruction to disband, not so? I think on the 28th of December 2024.
That is correct, Commissioner. We spent the day at that funeral, and there was nothing that the minister raised that might be a worry or complaint by anybody about the political killing stars team. He never said anything about this team's disbandment or even to indicate that I intend doing this. That was never at all. We did the funeral, we parted nicely, and he knew that I was going on leave because he approved my leave. And so the letter came as a surprise. And of course, the timing of it and the fact that the letter also said it must be done immediately. Of course, I interpret immediately as that probably it means it should have been disbanded. By the time I come back, the 14th, the team should not have been there. But luckily, the office did ask me direction as to how do we deal with this matter. Then I said to them, just prepare reports because the next feedback date is the 20th of January. Don't do anything other than prepare reports. Hence, when I get back to work, there was this speedy response by General Sibia to make me sign a letter to Kumalo, which I refused. Second day, I advised him how to do it. Second day, he came with the same letter, which I again refused and said, no, I'll do the matter myself. But whatever drove him, which I wouldn't know what it is, but now we know, he still issued those instructions to General Kumalo. But from my side as the National Commissioner, I've never said Kumalo either close or disband the team. I never said to Lieutenant General Mkonazi either close or disband the team. I kept on managing the situation through a proposal to wind down the team and wanted to find a finality about this winding down. Even though, yes, I had suspicion right from the word go, when there was no motive coming forth as to why is the team being disbanded, and there was any reason whatsoever. So, but eventually the real reason came. Unfortunately, the WhatsApp messages did come on the 13 or 14 May 2024 from Matlala's phone.
And maybe just to tie up that aspect on this basis, if you knew then what you know now, would you have approached the instruction or the directive by the minister that was given on 31 December 2024 the same way, or would you have approached it differently?
If I knew, I mean, right at the beginning.
Then, yes. Because remember, you dealt with the interactions from yesterday, that your actions were informed by what you knew at that time and what you did not know, which you then got to know later. I think the answer to that should be obvious. I think we can deal with it with the commission. I don't think I need to, but I thought just for completeness.
Well, if I knew then that the motive is to prevent this, the team, then I would have not even went as far as trying to suggest to the minister that because you want to close this team urgently, abruptly, let's rather wind down. I wouldn't even have went as far as that. So I would have outright refused the disbandment if I knew that that is the motive.
I was dealing with that because one of the things that is anticipated is that you somehow participated and acquiesced to the disbandment of this team. But I think your evidence makes it clear that you didn't know at the time. But if you had known, as you say, you would not even have participated by suggesting even that phased wind down.
That's correct, Commissioners.
Okay. If I can then ask you to deal with one last matter before concluding remarks. In paragraphs 186 to 187, you deal with other issues of relevance, and part of those are complaints against the PKTT. If I can ask you to deal with those two paragraphs. The second one we've already dealt with earlier, but let's just complete it. 186 and 187.
Yeah, since the establishment of the PKTT, a professor or associate professor, Meriti Haas, lodged numerous complaints against the PKTT, ranging from irregular formation and conduct, malicious arrest and corruption, the use of torture, abuse of to persecute individual, political interference and cover-ups, questionable leadership, effectiveness and wasteful spending, and disappearance of case files. As far as I'm aware, there is no substance to those complaints. Additionally, these complaints were made to the IPID, I'm aware, they were made to Parliament. An example to demonstrate the lack of substance, Mr. Haas complained about a Sergeant Lamini who went on, ended up being convicted by a court of law. So it is complaints that really did not hold any substance, and they keep complaining.
And you said this happened at the instance of the PKTT itself. That is, I'm saying the prosecution of Sergeant Dlamini happened at the instance of the PKTT. That's how I understood your evidence earlier. Or am I mistaken?
No, not correct, Commissioner. The complaints about Sergeant Dlamini happened halfway mid-life of the PKTT. But Ms. Meriti has complained about.
What I'm saying is, who initiated that? Was it not the PKTT itself that initiated the criminal process against Sergeant Dlamini? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
at the time it happened.
It was the PKTT themselves, Commissioner.
Yes, because you had indicated that he was one of the team members, and it was his fellow team members that actually were able to detect acts of criminality which have led to a conviction in a court of law.
Yeah, that is correct, Commissioners. And of course, I'm sure IPID can talk better on the complaints by Ms. Meriti Haas. She complained all the time. It is, and not only about the PKTT, but about other matters of policing. So it's not uncommon for her to complain.
If I can then ask you to turn to page 62.